Hello and welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I have a video for you that is fantastic. It's something you and I have talked about for years. For years. It is important. It is also timely. Thank you for coming to the Prepared Mind channel, for supporting us through PayPal, through clicking commercials, through watching commercials, through your direct donations at Patreon. You guys are awesome over there at Patreon. Thank you, everybody. Thank you also for sharing the links and sharing the concepts. It is going to become more important as we go forward from this point. Well, it's every day, but we've had some really important points this week, especially regarding China and the economy, especially regarding mass shootings and immigration, especially regarding partisan politics and subversive groups in America. Right? So here's the article. You're not losing your mind. Everybody else is. Right? And they start off with a Tale of Two Cities quote, and I won't even read it because I read it in high school and I hated it. High school literature was just terrible. You know, The Great Gatsby and Pearl S. Buck. I mean, they just drove us nuts. All right. If paying attention to global events overwhelms and results in a combined sense of dread, concern, and bewilderment, you're not alone. Now, this is great because this is basically mainstream news. This is coming from Michael Krieger. Michael Krieger writes at Liberty Blitzkrieg blog, right? But he's addressing the normal non-prepper mind out here. This is why it's so important to you and me. He is addressing people who are just now starting to wake up and realize shit isn't quite right. Right? So he's telling them, hey, if you've got a sense of dread, concern, and bewilderment, you're not alone. You're not crazy. Right? People have been calling us crazy, especially people who put their face on camera and put their words out there and say, hey, here's some of my thoughts, here's some of other people's thoughts, here's just some crazy ideas, let's talk about it. Right? We're crazy, right? Okay. Let's get back into the article. It's a great article, and I recommend sending it to people. Don't send them to this video, right? Share this video with them. But send it to people that don't believe in prepping or don't understand it so they can read this Krieger article. And it's carried by a lot of different websites. So let's pick one that seems innocuous, right? It seems like it's not crazy website or extreme right-wing website, right? There are periods in history when the entire paradigm you've been accustomed to living under changes rather abruptly and for good, meaning final. It's final. These changes have been final. World War I was final. It set the stage for World War II, which was final, which set the stage for what? The Cold War, which was the final. And then when that came to an end, bam, the final. And then 9/11 and the Patriot Act and the War on Terror. These are all paradigm changing finality in the world of economics. Finance, market. We had the 1929 crash. Then we had the bank holiday where they stole everyone's gold or a percentage of it. Then we had the 1971 suspension of the gold window, an introduction to worldwide fiat currency based on the US dollar. All right, these things are paradigm shifts that are massive. And those are ones I just pointed to are felt by everyone. Absolutely felt. World War I and II, you bet. Fear of nuclear annihilation, you bet that was felt. When that ended, woo, sigh of relief. Then the War on Terror started. We feel these things. They're a shift, and they're for good, or rather for final, right? For the finality of it, from the change from one to another. We're going to have another one. We had it in 2008, but there was a ticker there. There was a trip. They were able to take what was done in a couple other countries and say, if we do this, we can kick the can down the road. We can kick the can down the road. But, right, the primary shift that's occurring right now is the U.S. empire, which is the Anglo-American empire and the empire of the West, has lost its ability to dictate all terms to all countries at all times. Has to do with money, trade, and military power. Because if you don't have the military power, you can't tell the U.S. no. if you don't have the financial or monetary power, you can't tell the U.S. no, right? That's what's going on, is no longer can the United States dictate terms. Politically, you can't point to Russia and go, they're evil because of what they've done. You look, all countries are doing the same thing. They're controlling their press, they're dominating their people, they're assassinating their enemies, they're lying, cheating, and stealing. All of them are corrupt. So you can't point and say we have the moral high ground or the military high ground or the financial power, the economic power to bully everyone. The U.S. is lost. It's lost that, sadly, because it was abused. Because others were mistreated, they went to other suppliers for thought. We don't own the thought anymore, right? The high thought. Let's move down and look a little bit. I recommend reading this whole article. It's fantastic. The financial system itself, a tremendous source of U.S. imperial power, thank you, Michael, thanks for quoting me, is also fundamentally broken. Right, it's fundamentally broken, right? The consequences of past actions and imminent failure of a global paradigm that's dominated human existence for decades can no longer be delayed. Like I said, well, the Soviet Union delayed everything until they collapsed. We had a gold standard that was semi-gold standard, the Bretton Woods Agreement, until it collapsed. Then we went on to something else. Right now, we're in the transition phase between what we had and where we're going. The problem is that airplanes tend to buzz my house. That's the problem. The problem where they're at now is they can't delay the problems anymore. If they lower rates, interest rates, money to keep the economy going, it only enriches the super rich. It doesn't help the economy. If they raise rates, it strangles the economy. If they do quantitative easing and give money away, it's going to cause massive inflation. They've been hiding massive inflation for years. We've been taking advantage of foreign suppliers of cheap goods to make us feel like we have a standard of living that we can afford. Meanwhile, there's been piles of debt, corporate, government, personal, etc. It's now a paradigm shift that's dominated human existence but can no longer be delayed. That is, it's changing. They've been putting off the change, right? Unfortunately, we've misdiagnosed things all over the place as we're incessantly bombarded with myriad things to be outraged about while lacking proper context. This is where you and I as preppers have sat back and said, now wait a minute, I'm a patriotic guy, but let's really look at the facts. Is our government holier than thou? No. Is their government the consummate evil of all time? Not really. Are they both messed up? Yes. Get some context. Get some perspective. Right? Do you think these little socialists running around on the street right now, the ones that would come up and bash you in the head with a bike lock if they could get away with it, do you think they have proper context and perspective so they can understand what's going on around here? When the system collapses, corrects, stumbles, falls, whatever term you want to use for the inevitable shit it's the fan moment, who are you going to blame? You can bet that the little socialist Antifas are going to blame fascist right-wingers. You can bet that conservatives in Congress are going to bash the Democrats. You can bet that people are going to blame China. You can bet that the Chinese are going to blame us. Russia is going to get blamed by Poland, but Germany is going to side with Russia. Everyone, right? It's a poker game. And someone's going to turn the table over and mix all the money and all the cards and all the rules and just mess everything up. This is coming, and that's what this article is about. You're not losing your mind. It's just no one else is awake. As preppers, we've been awake for a while. But for those who are just now waking up, they're going to start seeing things, and they need some perspective. prepping, what we talk about here, offers that. And it offers a protective solution, a form of insurance. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. That's your insurance against the inevitable paradigm shift that's coming. And everyone needs to have proper context. So we don't blame our favorite boogeyman. It's not the boogeyman, right? It's what these politicians in every country have done, and bankers in every country have done, and the corporations, the globalist corporations have done in every country around the world. They are the ones who have messed it up. And we can't stop them. We can't fix it. We can't heal things. We can't work our way out of it. We can't tax ourselves to pay for it. There's not enough. They've broken it completely. And so Krieger says, this brings me to the main point of this piece. It's imperative those of us who can see the bigger picture stay as focused and as humane as possible when things fall apart, while things fall apart. He's pointing not to an event, but rather a series of events. While things fall apart. Not when it does, but while. There's going to be moments where we go, yep, that was it. That was it. They broke it. They just announced it. But there's going to be a lot of breaks, right? You can break your bone because you get hit with a bat in the arm, for example. When you get hit by a train, it breaks a lot of bones, right? This system isn't a simple break that we can put a cast on. You're going to be in a full body cast in traction because the whole thing just got shattered. Right, okay. It's possible to fight for what's right without dehumanizing other people. Mr. Krieger is just a nice guy. We must resist all efforts by the media, pundits, and even those around us to suck off into the collective insanity vortex, infecting people across the political spectrum. After all, if we don't, who will? Once again, being a prepper and having proper context and perspective will allow us to understand who are and who aren't the bad guys. Who did this to us? Who didn't do this? Let's not blame people who don't need to be blamed. And above all, you can't just go around just because you're mad at Group X or Group Y and start murdering them, right? We need to be humane and decent. That doesn't mean you're not allowed to protect yourself. It doesn't mean you shouldn't prep ahead of time for what we know is coming, right? Things falling apart is never fun or safe. It never has been. Something else will surely replace that which is going away. And the best we can do is try to ensure the world of the future builds upon the best of what came before while discarding the destructive and unethical. That is great high-mindedness. Yeah, there's going to be something after shit hitting the fan. My hope has been that it's going to be shit hits the fan light, and we can get there less painfully, more quickly, and with less bloodshed, as opposed to all-out mayhem and world war. Right? We're entering a period of increased turmoil on a global basis, but the future is still ours to make. Let's make it a good one. That is what you and I can control on an individual basis. I am not capable, nor are you, or empowered to make decisions for an entire nation. So I can't guarantee anything on a global basis, and the future is not mine to make as far as the globe goes. We don't have democracy. We don't have a representative republic. We have an oligarchy. An oligarchy that has crowned itself, given itself power over everybody by electing and re-electing and bringing family and cronyism into this. It is a giant nepotistic, cronyistic, globalistic system that seeks to empower and enrich itself by pronouncing itself literal deities. And they're going to do what they want, and we can't stop them. I really wish that Krieger was right and that it was up to us, but it's not. That's why we have to prep. It's not that I want to prep. I could do a lot better things with the money I've spent on prepping, like going on a nice vacation. Right? I could buy a lot of things, but instead I've had to do that because of what is coming. You know, once again, the starting of this article, you're not losing your mind. Everyone else is. If you are listening to this message, if you're reading that article, you are being told it's okay. This is what's going on, and now you need to do something about it. The do something about it is getting prepared mentally and with food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. That's what this article, why I said it's so great, is if you can get this article in front of someone else, you're not losing your mind. You're really seeing this, right? Like someone sees a pink elephant walking down the middle of the street, they're going to think they've lost their mind. That is a whole nother world. It's something strange and bizarre. No one will believe it. And so they don't talk about it. They don't think about it anymore. Like, I don't see a pink elephant. I don't see a pink elephant. I don't see that pink elephant. They get around the corner and go, there was no pink elephant. People are being faced every day, right now, with the world falling apart around them. And it's pink elephant, and then they turn the corner. That pink elephant doesn't matter, but then there's another one. And then they go around the block thinking they got rid of that pink elephant, and now there's another one. Politics, monetary, socially, militarily, everything is going crazy. But you're not losing your mind. Everyone else in the world is, for believing that that is normal and that this is okay and that there's no consequences for what's happening. Get prepared now. Chance favors the prepared mind is yours. You guys rock. Thank you for sponsoring the channel. I appreciate it. And I'll talk to you again very, very soon.